independent practice, the students grabbed some foldables that we had been working on, and they were going to put their words down on paper for a brief constructed response. Now this kind of went hand in hand with an article that we had read from the day prior, and it was about an NFL player named Chris Borland who decided to retire early from NFL because of a head injury, some trauma that it might cause to him later in life. So the students had already been prepped for that, but it was time to kind of go over what we wanted from them in the brief constructed response. And it was mostly that we wanted them to be able to cite textual evidence and to be able to write that accordingly. And that's why we used the RACE method, was to give them a really good foundation to go by. And they knew that they had to go in the order of the RACE that we went over in the work session. All right, now we're going to move into some close readers that we read last week, and we started on Monday as well. If you would, team captains, will you look under your desk and get out our close readers? And we're going to change gears a little bit. We're going to move from Herschel Walker into a new football player. His name was Chris Borland, and he signed a contract with the 49ers to play football at the age of 24. And he decided that he didn't want to do that anymore, that he was going to retire from football at age 24. Juanita, what was his main reason for wanting to retire from football?
Because research says that concussions can later damage his brain.
Juanita, I love that answer. That was a perfect answer. Research does show, and we saw that in our passage, that multiple head injuries over the course of a long period of time can cause damage to your brain, and it actually can deteriorate your brain. So when you're younger, what's going to happen to you, Abby? When you're younger, what's some things that can happen if you're a big football player and you've played for a long time?
He would lose memory, and he'd have to be in a wheelchair maybe, and he would have brain damage.
Abby, you are a rock star. That's the perfect answer, yes. So now that we've discussed a little bit about what our close readers were about and what the main idea of it was, I want you to look at the question that your brief constructive response is going to ask you. And your question is located in that little circle at the very top left of your page. And it says, write a short paragraph that explains the central idea of the article and use at least 2 details from the article to support your response. We're going to record our brief constructive response on our fun foldables that we did yesterday. So team captains, if you would for me, get out your foldables. Foldables are a great way to get students engaged, and they are a wonderful way to have kinesthetic learners get excited about learning. I use them a lot in my classroom in their interactive notebooks. So for this method, we decided to use the RACE method as a foldable, and there was an R section and an A and a C and an E, and the students actually manipulate the paper to be able to fold it back and write each sentence behind each pocket. All right, on your foldables, they should look something like this. It should be folded in the front, and you have R, A, C, E. You're going to actually write your response on this paper. So this is going to be independent work, but you are allowed to talk amongst your group, and I want you to ask your peers, people with you. Remember, ask 3 and then ask me. If you have a question that you need answered as far as the transition word goes, if you need a little help with identifying the main idea, because your brief constructed response asks you to identify the central idea, I want you to make sure you just ask your partners. I'm here if you need me. Make sure you ask me too. And you're going to write each sentence. You're going to have 4 total. One sentence is going to go on this flap. Your next sentence is going to go on this flap. Then your third and your fourth. And when we're finished, we're going to grade them with our 4-point rubric to see if you are going to be able to shoot a field goal today. Any questions? Asking us? This is just something that was inferred, okay? I want it explicitly from the text. So you're going to read it and put it in your own words. And then let's move on back to A, and I'll come check on that in just a second, okay? Worrying is okay, but we missed an R. Okay. Immediate feedback or constructive feedback is vital in my classroom because it gives the students a sense of guidance, and it helps them to know that I'm always there every step of the way when they're creating a writing piece. And I try to monitor and walk back and forth and go from student to student. I also try to get each piece in my hand from every student once or twice during this process so the students know that I'm there, and I'm there to guide them, help improve what they're doing, and help make it the best that it can be.